Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Techman, and welcome back to this dramatic reading of Batmare Beyond by Tatsuro. Chapter 2, A New Adventure. Bruce stared at the filly in his arms as he fed her from a bottle of goat's milk he'd warmed up for her. He still couldn't quite figure out what she was or where she came from. A unicorn, small enough to fit in his lap. He'd never heard of anything like it. He wished he could consult someone on this. He mentally went over the list of those he knew he could talk to about this. He had cut his ties to the Justice League not long ago and hadn't heard from any of them since. His previous sidekicks had hung up their capes and were living normal lives. He knew very few of the people who worked for him personally. And not long before he cut ties with the League, Alfred passed away from old age. He'd never noticed it before, so focused was he on continuing to fill the role of Batman, but being Bruce Wayne had slowly become more and more lonely. The empty echoes of the Wayne Manor weighing on the mind, wearing away at resolve, forcing the realization of loneliness on the last residents. As he came to this realization, little Rarity popped the nipple of the ball out of her mouth, a tiny burp, and giggled before nuzzling into his chest. Bruce couldn't stop a slight smirk from gracing his face. A thought occurred to him. As Batman, he was known as being the modern world's greatest detective. Why did he need to consult with someone over this new arrival? It was just yet another mystery to be solved. He was only forced to hang up his cape due to a failing body. His mind was still as sharp as ever. This was just what he needed, a new challenge to keep his fire burning. With this in mind, he lifted the tiny pony up to his face to look her right in the eyes. "Let's see what I can make of you," he whispered with a slight smile. Giggling, Rarity reached forward and booped his nose with one hoof. Bruce's eyes crossed as he stared at the hoof. "Don't do that," he scolded, enticing another giggle. Bruce carefully washed Rarity in the kitchen sink, gaining a good examination of her in the process. He'd so far found that she was completely at ease in the bath and enjoyed being cleaned, as long as he used high-quality shampoo. The minute he reached for a generic, she kicked up a fuss and said, flying across the room in a telekinetic aura. She also barely whimpered when his inexpert washing got so briefly in her eyes. From what he could tell from that, she was an exceptionally well-behaved infant. He had considered putting her in diapers, but when he'd set her down in the bathroom to look for supplies, she had kept trying to climb up to the toilet. Stabilizing her over the bowl, he had discovered that she was already toilet trained, and also apparently knew how to use a bidet. He instead made note to look into either designing a floor-level toilet attached to a bidet or getting a stepladder she could climb up to the bowl with, along with a seat cover that gave her room to stand on. Drying her off, he found that her appearance before had been deceptively smooth. Between how floofed up her coat got after drying and the mess her mane became, it took all his self-control to keep from bursting into laughter. However, Rarity's anguished expression had him quickly reaching for a brush and comb to return her coat and mane to their former pristine, well-groomed look. Discovering that he was actually enjoying it, he even took the time to curl her mane and tail. Sitting back when she was kneaded up, Bruce decided it was time to introduce her to the one other resident of the Wayne Manor. He let off a shrill whistle. "Ace!" With a loud bark, a large German shepherd came racing up to his call. The canine came to a halt at his feet. Coming to a heel without being ordered, his eyes locked on his master. "Puppy!" Rarity said happily, toddling over and trying to climb onto his back. Ace glanced briefly at the filly before turning back to Bruce. He gave a questioning woof. "This is Rarity," Bruce explained. Though this was technically Ace the Fifth, the courage, loyalty, intelligence, and determination of the original had bred true in at least one pup from each successive generation. And that pup that possessed those qualities was given the name and remained at Wayne Manor with Bruce ever since the first Ace had been at his side. And it was more comfortable for Bruce to treat each successive Ace as a continuation of the original. They certainly acted like it. "She'll be staying here too. Be gentle with her and keep an eye on her." Ace gave an affirmative woof, then turned to watch as Rarity batted at his upturned ear. Bruce sat back to watch. He knew he didn't have anything to worry here, at least as far as Ace interacting with Rarity. He had proven gentle with youngsters before. After a time of watching, he stood up. "I'm going to get some supplies from the store," he told Ace. "Keep her out of trouble until I get back." Ace gave an affirmative woof. Rarity waved a hoof at him. "Bye-bye," she said happily. Bruce wasn't sure if he should be pleased that Rarity was at such a secure and good-natured youngster, surprised at her grasp of language so young, or concerned if leaving her with Ace as her only watch was smart. Then again, she was a good deal smaller than Ace, and didn't look to be capable of much climbing. As he headed to the door, he shrugged. What's the worst that could happen? Famous last words. As Bruce walked back into the manor with his groceries, his eyes fell on Ace and Rarity. Rarity looked overjoyed. Ace looked resigned. Rarity turned to Bruce. "Father, I made Puppy pretty!" Bruce groaned, wondering how he was going to clean up the mess. It wasn't until much later that night, when Rarity curled up in a basket on a coffee table in his bedroom, that he realized what the first words she'd said there was. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is chapter 2 in the book. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. This is part of the reason I enjoy a lot of Tatsura's crossovers, is because he's willing to spend a couple of early chapters doing some extra world building to either explain how his additions, ponies, affect the world, or just how the world may be a little different than most people would expect it. Batman serves a very interesting point in the comic book world because Bruce Wayne is the alter ego. Batman is the main character, and Bruce Wayne is the alter ego, just as Clark Kent is the alter ego to Superman. And it's different because, again, the normal person is Bruce, but it's not. He is the alternative. So it's interesting to see what happens to that side, to the alter ego, when the main has to retire. So it's a very interesting way to start it, and sort of kind of brings all together. It's a little bit of information on Ace, obviously a character who may or may not be playing a big role. He's the only person who lives at Wayne Manor. And without going too much out of Wayne Manor, we're still in Wayne Manor. We haven't left there yet, which is great, because now we're going to slowly build the world out. And it will be highly entertaining to read for you guys. So I'm going to leave you guys on that note. I wish you all good luck, good hunting, and safe travels. I'll see you in the next one, my Banditos.